Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. How on earth do you manage to turn a pie into this monstrosity?
I gave it my best shot.
There's only one explanation. You're possessed. It's true, he is, but I'm a perfectly good chef. Michelle's just naturally terrible at it.
God, could this go any worse?
I can't give this to Mel. Jerk, dimwit, loser.
I'm sorry. Oh, that's such a genuinely sad face.
Ugh. Well, I guess we've got no choice but to eat it ourselves. I'll set the table.
What?
And I'll make us some tea while I'm at it. I've always dreamed of this, sitting around a table with a friend, having snacks and just talking.
Oh.
Yep, and for that, I can deal with a little awful, disgusting pie. It's just too bad I couldn't share it with my Mel, too.
I see.
For all her complaining, she seems to be enjoying herself. I can only imagine how lonely she is out here. While she may act all bright and cheerful, beneath it is a real sense of isolation.
And the same can be said about the girl behind the first door. As vivacious and pushy as she could be, you could see hints of loneliness behind it all.
Her brother was practically all she had while she lived in the mansion.
I think this is actually one of my... I compliment the art all the time, but this Giselle face is like such a deliciously subtle expression, man. There's so much you could read into that. It's amazing. Amazing work. I really need to remember this artist's name, man.
But if I were to guess, that's not the life she really wanted. I bet she would have preferred to be able to go out and play with friends.
Being born into a noble family takes away a lot of your freedom.
Even in such drastically different time periods, she's still the same girl inside.
Reincarnation would sort of put a wrench in that notion of her just wanting to go out and play with friends. I haven't read that whole thing yet. I got up to Yukimasa and Pauline stuff. But what they do with Mel and Nellie, I think, is a bit questionable.
Actually, maybe the parallels extend beyond her as a person and into the courses of her two different lives.
Perhaps that means all those who are reconstructed at Morgana's wish are destined to lead similar lives. Though destined might be putting it too nicely. Nellie. I would be glad to lend you my ear, if you'd like. You can talk about the weather or your brother, anything you want.
You will? Great, take a seat. I've got lots I want to talk about. More than you can possibly imagine. And you'll never guess what Mel said next. That I mean more to him than anyone in the whole world. So I'm growing flowers out in the garden, right? Well, when I've got enough of them, I'm going to make a big bouquet and give it to Mel. Back at home, we've got this really, really big yard with this huge tree we used to take naps under when it was nice out. So what do you think about the tea I made? The flower petals are what really ties it all together. Oh, and you won't believe what happened after that. Care for another cup of tea? I'll make as much as you can drink.
No, thank you. I'm fine. I feel like all I did was nod and listen. I've been there, buddy. And the bulk of it was about Mel, no less.
I haven't talked that much in ages. Time sure flew by, huh? The sun's starting to set.
Do you and the nun not speak much?
We do, but it's kind of, I don't know, not really the same with her. It just feels, I guess, like she's too important for me to waste her time, being the lady in charge of the church, and pretty much the whole estate.
And what about Mel? Does he not visit you very often?
No, he does. He comes to see me a lot.
And why?
He hasn't been himself lately. My old Mel would always happily listen to whatever I had to say, but now he seems kind of distracted. It sounds like he's really busy. When he visits, he doesn't stay for long, and he has to go back to the mansion at night. I'll try to get him to stay longer, but it never works. And he always avoids the question when I ask him why he can't. It feels like he's hiding something.
Knowing what he's hiding, I can understand why he wouldn't want to talk about it. He could never tell his precious little sister that he and 2 other men have a girl locked up in a tower, and that he's stealing her blood for her sake.
I wish things could have stayed the way they were before.
The way they were before?
When it was just the 2 of us living together. I know we're more stable here and I can get the medicine I need from the church. But I'd rather stay being sick than be so alone.
You said you came by here around 6 months ago.
Yep. It was just the 2 of us before that. Well, before that, at our old house, we had a bunch of servants. But I never really liked it there either. With that many people around, I just felt more alone. I liked it so much better when it was just me and Mel.
Is that really what you want? To be sick and in constant pain?
It's better than being alone. Mel just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that the loneliness is so much worse. Or maybe that's just a guy thing. They don't get what it's like to be ignored. What it feels like to be left in the dark, not knowing anything.
We don't understand, no. We think saving their lives matters above all.
Huh?
Even if there's a cost to saving that life, we're incapable of gauging how great it is. We're unable to see how egotistical, how self-serving our actions are.
Are you talking about yourself?
The same could be said of Mel as well, I imagine.
Mel's still around, though. He's there, but it's like he's trying to avoid me. All I want is for him to be here, to be with me. That's all I really want. He doesn't even have to be a perfect fairy tale prince.
Have you ever told him that?
What?
Have you ever told him that he doesn't have to be the perfect brother? That you'd be happy with just having him here? Have you ever put those feelings into words?
I'm always telling him I want him around.
And that he doesn't have to be your prince to do so?
He's already said he will be my prince. And he always smiles whenever I talk about it. So how am I supposed to turn around and say he doesn't have to be my prince anymore?
I know it's not your intention to force an ideal image onto him, but unconsciously, subconsciously, that's what you're doing when you talk like that. And Mel, he's trying to meet those expectations. Actually, he may not be conscious of it himself, and he just believes deep down that that's the kind of person he's supposed to be. Or more accurately, he seems to have a need to make himself look good to others. He believes that if he's good to others, they'll be good to him in return.
Am I a burden?
I can assure you he's better off with you around.
But I am a burden to him right now, aren't I? Be honest with me.
Yes, you are.
Does Mel not like me anymore? Is that why he's been avoiding me?
I promise you that's not the case. At the very least, he's doing what he's doing now because of how much he cares about you.
You promise?
I promise.
I love him. I love my Mel so very much. Too much, in fact. To be honest, I know I do. I understand that, really. I know I'm making his life difficult. But Mel's all I have. He's the only person I can latch on to, and I can't control my feelings.
It can be difficult to tame your emotions at your age. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you should have taken stock of those emotions, sorted through everything you've got on your mind, and then sat down with him to talk it out. Even if those things you feel seem wrong or unspeakable. Michelle absolutely spitting here. You should have opened up to him, taken the time to figure out what works best for the both of you. You too needed to face the things you carried in your heart, the things your brother carried in his. By not doing so, you end up never quite on the same page. Small misunderstandings piling up until it all comes crashing down. If they had just talked it out, communicated their feelings to one another, maybe their tragedy could have been avoided, even with Morgana's curse in play. If Nellie had only had a chance to come to grips with her feelings for Mel, then maybe things wouldn't have escalated the way they did. Her actions that night were arguably hysteric, but she wasn't always like that. I'm sorry. That was out of line. None of this is any of my business, I know.
No need to apologize. You're a very curious man, you know that?
Huh?
We only met a couple of hours ago, but you talk like you've known me my whole life. It's like you can hear everything I'm thinking, see everything in my heart. Did Mel tell you all of that?
No, he did not tell me much.
I didn't think so. He doesn't know me that well.
God, that is such a perfect button to all that. Man. Like, all this talk about Mel doing whatever he fucking can to keep her alive, disregarding how she feels about it. You know, that whole masculine ego thing. All for a loved one, you know, anything for the loved one. And then Nellie, all her unhealthy attachments to her brother. He's all she's got. You know, they're both the center of each other's world, and yet they don't know each other that well. That's just beautiful and tragic.
It's not too late, is it? If I talk to him, really tell him how I feel, do you think Mel will listen?
I know he will.
It won't make things worse? It won't make him uncomfortable?
There is a chance that rifts may form at first, but those cracks can be filled again, and I promise you, the result will be something much better than if you had held it in. It will all work out.
Okay. Next time I see Mel, I'll tell him. I'll tell him he doesn't have to try to be my prince.
Good.
You really are a curious man. You're the first person to ever talk to me like I'm a real person. Everyone loves to say how sweet and adorable I am, but that's it.
And then, in turn, she plays into that to continue to see their affections for her. You know, because that's all she knows. Ah, it's so fucked.
I was only ever their make-believe princess.
You are a real person, I assure you.
Thanks. You know, after talking to you, I'm feeling a whole lot better. Like I can do anything. I'm glad you came by today.
And I'm glad I could meet you in person.
It's weird. It really feels like we've known each other our entire lives.
I've known of you for some time. Or perhaps I should say, what you will become.
Huh?
Oh no, ignore me.
Was that supposed to be a pickup line? Bad, Michelle. I'm still too young for that.
No, I wasn't.
And now you're getting flustered.
I swear that's not what that was.
I know. Jeez, do you really think I trust you that little?
Sorry.
Oh, I just had the most wonderful idea.
Oh?
Yep. Instead of being my friend, I'll let you be something even better. You're my second brother.
Second brother?
A brother is much, much more special to me than a friend. Though obviously you can't be my number one.
I'm blanking.
She's taken a liking to you. This is good for us.
I'm not sure how I feel about her putting so much trust in me so quickly, though.
The amount of time it takes isn't important. What matters is that you listen to her, you understand her, and you treated her like a real person. In her eyes, you're someone she can depend on. Do you not want me as your sister?
Actually, I was the youngest child, so having a younger sibling would be,
Would be what? Come on, spit it out.
It would be rather nice.
You bet it would. Who wouldn't want an adorable little sister like me?
That's a bit narcissistic, wouldn't you say?
Well, it's true, isn't it? Go on, tell me I'm adorable, dearest Michelle. What? Well, don't just stare at me. If my Mel were here, he wouldn't bat an eye.
Please don't compare me to him. You know, now might be a good time to tell her about Morgana. Part of me feels like Part of me feels like I would be taking advantage of her newly earned trust, but it'll certainly be easier to bring up now, while she holds me in such high regard. She's much more likely to believe me.
You're right. I agree. Now's probably the best chance we'll... Oh my god. Now's probably the best chance we'll get. Especially considering how little time we have.
I can't shake the feeling I'm rushing things. But at this point, all I can do is go with it and pray it works out.
If we had the time, I think we'd all like to hold off. Nellie looks like she's having so much fun. And even you seem to be enjoying yourself.
No, I'm just...
It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm having fun watching you myself. Let's do it. Let's tell her about Morgana. We have to do it at some point anyway.
Yes, let's. Nellie, do you mind if I ask you a question?
What is it, dearest Michelle? Ask me anything you want.
Have you heard of something called saint's blood?
You mean the medicine?
Yes, except it's not actually.
I know, yeah. It's actually the saintess's blood, not medicine. But no telling.
You. What?
One day before we moved here, when it was just me and Mel, the saintess came to visit. My mind had been all foggy for a long time, like I was not quite asleep, but not quite awake either. But when I heard her soft, pleasant voice, the fog cleared a bit.
You know, this is always how, intense colds are presented in Japanese media, is they're really foggy, not quite asleep, not quite awake. Most recently, I watched the first season of Frieren. Well, it's the only season that's out now, but I mean to say I haven't read the manga. And when Fern was sick, it was just a cold, but everyone was treating it like she was on her fucking deathbed. And I see that all the time in Japanese stories. A cold is the worst ailment you can possibly get. And I've never understood that. A cold is just a cold. You can have a really bad cold, but it doesn't feel like you're dying, at least not to me and not to anyone I've ever met and talked about this particular experience with. It's weird. Odd. Huh.
And then she performed a miracle for me. Blood is awful and gross and terrible, but the saintess's, hers is different. Hers is pure.
So you're saying you know everything, Nellie? About the observation tower and...
Huh? The tower? What about it?
That's where they keep her.
What? No, the saintess is always in the chapel. And she stays here with me. She comes back at nights. In fact, she should be here any minute now. So, she thinks the saintess
is the nun and not Morgana. No, Nellie. The blood comes from...
I'm really, really grateful to her. She didn't just perform one miracle. She's been taking care of me while I'm here too. So whenever I see her, I always say thank you. I thank her for sharing her blood with me. And she always says it's nothing with a big smile.
Nellie, no. The nun has no idea. She just assumes Nellie's thanking her for giving her the medicine.
I owe the saintess my life.
No, Nellie. She's not the one you should be grateful to.
Huh?
The girl you owe your life to has been locked up, suffering and alone. Ugh. Why do I mess up all the important lines? The girl you owe your life to has been locked up, suffering and alone even as we speak.
But the saintess is at the church.
The girl who came to visit you is not the nun everyone calls the saintess. Her name is Morgana.
What are you talking about, Michelle? The saintess is locked up? Stop that! I have no idea what you're talking about.
Everything I'm telling you is the truth. Please believe me. While you were lying in bed, sick and barely conscious, did you get a good look at the saintess who gave you her blood? You didn't, did you? You couldn't make out any details because your mind was in a haze. And then when you arrived at this estate, you met a woman who people called the saintess, giving out medication known as saint's blood, So you assume she was the one who had cured you. That's the story you chose to believe.
If what you're saying is true, then where's the other saintess? The one who came to see me?
At the top of the mansion's observation tower. The door to the tower is locked. She's imprisoned there.
And how do you know this?
Because it wouldn't be wise to tell her I'm from the future just yet. That would only serve to confuse her further. All I need to convince her of right now is that Morgana is being held in the tower. There's an idea. Perhaps I can borrow the story the white-haired girl told Mel. I received a letter.
A letter?
There's a single window, far out of reach, in the chamber at the top of the tower. A dove flew in through the window, so she wrote a letter, tying it to the bird's leg, and releasing it in the hope someone would come and set her free. That letter ended up in my hands.
If that's the case, then who locked her up? Was it the saintess? The one I know?
No, I don't believe the nun is aware. I think she's simply doing her job in good faith.
Then who? Michelle.
I know very well that what I'm about to say will likely crush her. But I can't let that stop me.
Who would do such a terrible thing?
Nellie, I want you to brace yourself for what I'm about to say. There are 3 men participating in Morgana's imprisonment. And one of those 3 is your brother, Mel. I understand that that's the last thing you wanted to hear, but please believe me, I would not say something so upsetting so lightly. I wish to save Morgana, the true saint. And I would like your assistance. Without your help, I can't get her out of that tower. I need you to get through to Mel. Otherwise, both he and Morgana will remain entrapped.
It's not true.
Nellie.
You're lying. You have to be. My Mel would never do something so horrible. You're a terrible liar.
It's true. I swear to you.
You think I'm going to believe that? My Mel's an amazing, wonderful person. He's not cruel and evil. He's good and kind like a prince. And a prince would never lock someone up.
I know you're not blind, Nellie. You can see that all your prince talk has been putting pressure on him.
So? You think that's going to change my mind? He has no reason to do any of that.
But he does, Nellie. He's certainly not happy about it, no. But he's doing it for you.
What do you mean?
He needs her blood to keep you healthy. So, to ensure he always had a supply.
But no,
And despite that, Saint's blood probably doesn't even have healing properties. I keep slurring my consonants. Ooh, like your average convention goer. No one benefits from doing this. Not you, not Mel, and certainly not Morgana. And I don't think anyone can stop you except him.
Mel won't listen to me.
Did you not just say you would talk things through with him?
Just shut up! Stop talking already! I'm done listening to you!
Nelly.
I'll never believe you. You're not my brother anymore. You're just a horrible, horrible man. Who do you think you are to march in here and try to make my Mel into the bad guy? And after I made you my second brother? What's wrong with you? I trusted you. I ate nasty pie and had tea with you. And you're just a mean, evil man here to turn me against my Mel.
I know you don't want to believe me, but I'm telling you the truth. Every word. I beg you to open your eyes. Ask him yourself. If you don't believe me, then ask Mel about Morgana. I guarantee you, he'll panic.
Enough already! Get out of here! Get out this instant!
Nelly.
Don't say my name! Just go away! Get out of here! Now! I don't want to see you ever again! I should have chased you off the moment I saw you! Get out! Now!
I pray you can find it in yourself to open your eyes and face the truth.
Get out!
One last thing before I go, Nelly. It was my only option, I know that. But I feel like all I accomplished by telling her was bringing her more pain. It's a difficult balance.
We just have to pray that you were able to get through to her. I'm sure she'll come around.
If only we had a little more time. In 3 days, it will all be over. Morgana and the entire web of people connected to her will die. That's not enough time. Let's return to the mansion and look for Mel. I would like to speak with him. If there's a chance we can get even the smallest bit of Nelly's feelings through to him, maybe he'll have a change of heart.
Hopefully.
It's hardly going to be elegant, but it's what must be done.
Ah, did you just get back? The Saintess was telling me you went to see Nelly. What do you think? Sweet girl, isn't she?
That she is.
Oh, she can be a bit of a handful at times. I'm glad you could keep her company for a bit. Now, just to be sure, you kept a lid on all your crazy talk, right?
She treated me to some tea, nothing more.
Ah, the stuff with the flower petals in it, yeah? She thinks it's some kind of charm to make it taste better. The girls seem to have a thing for stuff like that.
Mel.
Hmm?
Could you spare a bit of time for me? We need to talk.
Oh, sure. Can it wait a bit, though? I have to run a little errand before supper. After supper. I have to run a little errand after supper. When I'm done with that, I'll meet you in your room.
Yeah, wouldn't want to see the fucking Harlequin baby girl before eating your dinner, right? God forbid. All right.
You think the errand is...
Bringing Morgana her meal, presumably. We might be able to catch the 3 of them opening the door if we trail Mel.
It's too big a risk. Mel's already wary enough as it is.
I concur. We don't know how the other 2 might react either. It's best to play it safe. No one's going to come to our defense if we're caught. Not at this point in time. So we'd be better off so we'd be better off waiting in our room.
Agreed.
The winter has receded, and spring is well upon the land. There's still a sharp chill to the night air. Even with the windows shut, the wind still manages to slip through the cracks, making the candle flame waver. The wind still manages to slip through the cracks, making the candle flame waver. Neither Giselle nor I say much of anything. But nevertheless, when she does speak, the sound of her voice, soft and pleasant, relaxes my nerves. Again, perfect fucking analog to long distance, man. The faint sound of her breathing reminds me I'm not alone, that she's there, always watching over me. When the candle is about half gone, the door swings open.
Sorry it took so long. What did you want to talk about?
You didn't bring anyone with you?
No, I didn't. Who did you think I would bring?
No one, I was just checking.
No, I'll get straight to the point.
You're afflicted with a great deal of remorse, are you not, Mel?
Pardon?
I know what you're doing, what you're involved in. I know the girl at the top of the observation tower very well. Her name is Morgana, and you have her imprisoned in the tower. The door requires 3 keys to open, of which you possess 1. You need her for her miracle blood.
How?
I came here to stop you.
How? How do you know any of that? It's not possible she could have told anyone. Did one of them tell you?
No, it wasn't them. I was told all of this by Morgana herself.
How could she?
What I'm about to tell you is going to seem impossible, but every word of it is the truth. I am not from this time. Many, many years after her death, Morgana's soul told me what happened to her.
What? What are you even talking about? She's still alive. You're not from this time? What? Are you mad?
You already called him mad, dude. You decided that already. Can you come up with any other explanation for how I would know everything I know? There's a single window in the room at the top of the tower. A small, insignificant thing that sits high upon the wall, and entirely useless for communicating with the outside world. In 3 days' time, during the Harvest Festival, Morgana will die. And I must prevent that from happening.
Prevent it?
To do that, I need your key. Will you give it to me?
There you go, talking nonsense again. You know, I warned you not to kick up any dust, for your own sake. But I guess that didn't get through, huh? I don't care who you are or where you came from. All that matters is that you intend to stand in our way. What, did you think I was just a helpless little boy? That you could take my key without any trouble? Well, you'd be right about that. If it was only me, stealing my key and setting her free would be a trivial matter. But it's not only me. And the other two, they won't hesitate to kill you. Your life, anyone's life, means nothing to them. You don't know what they're like, how terrifying they can be. They're killers. I'll tell them everything you told me. I'll tell them you know our secret. And don't come crying to me when they come for you. I warned you.
Is that what you want? Will you find the comfort you seek by being their devoted little slave and keeping Morgana imprisoned in that tower?
What else can I...
If you feel at all ashamed about your part in this, if you want to do something to correct it, then you need to take that step. You can't fix this problem on your own, no. But I am here to help.
I'm not ashamed about anything.
Don't lie to yourself.
Don't act like you know how I feel. What the hell is your deal anyway? You show up out of nowhere spouting all this "I'll save you and I'm here to help" rubbish.
You need to do this for your sister.
See, now that's ridiculous. If I wash my hands of this, I won't have access to the witch's blood anymore. And without that, Nellie can't get better. She'll die without that blood.
Her blood has no miraculous healing powers. You only believe it does, making it appear to work. You're mad. Morgana's blood is not curing Nellie. In fact, it may very well be killing her. If you keep giving her that blood, Nellie will also lose her life during the Harvest Festival.
What?
You're standing on the precipice of a horrific tragedy, and you're going to take everyone down with you if you don't turn back now.
What are you...
All three of you are going to lose everything on the day of the festival. And there's only one way to prevent that. You have to set Morgana free.
You're insane. If you think I would believe that... Nellie's going to die?
Oh.
You're insane. If you think I would believe that... Nellie's going to die? Could you have told a more mean-spirited lie? You're the one who's trying to kill her. I'm just trying to save her.
And you're going about it the entirely wrong way. Do you have any idea how lonely your sister is right now? You should be at her side. That's what you should be doing instead of stealing a poor girl's blood.
I've heard enough. What do you know? If I lose Nellie, I'll have no one. My whole world will collapse. This is the only way I could keep that from happening. This was my best option. My only option. So no, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep Morgana locked up, and I'm going to keep stealing her blood. And I'll hand you over to the other two. I'll have them kill you. You'll regret ever showing your face. Mel, is that really true? Do you really have the Saintess locked up? Why? What are you doing here, Nellie? That man told me I had to talk to you. And he said if I didn't have the courage to do it myself, to wait outside his room tonight, because he was going to get the truth from you. You conniving son of a... You were planning this all along. Why would you tell Nellie? Why would you bring her of all people into this? Mel. Tell me, Mel. Is it true? Nellie, Are you really keeping the Saintess prisoner and stealing her blood? And you said you would have him killed. I never thought you were such a terrible person, Mel. I can't believe you would do such despicable things. No, you're not my brother anymore. Nellie! Michelle, go after her!
We have to stop her. Bring her back. Nelly!
Don't follow me. Just go away. Leave me alone.
Stop! If you run away from him now, Mel will never come back from this.
Then why did you tell me? Why did you tell me what he was doing? If you hadn't said anything, everything would still be fine. We wouldn't be in this horrible mess. If you hadn't said anything, I could have kept on believing in him.
No, things wouldn't be fine. Why can you not see that? You shouldn't put your faith in your ideal brother, but your real one. The boy in that room stricken with regret. I keep fucking up the important lines. The boy in that room stricken with regret. If I hadn't said anything, the facade would have ruined you. If I hadn't... take a breath. If I hadn't said anything, the facade would have ruined you both sooner or later. No, in truth, your relationship was already broken. You were simply ignoring the spreading cracks. I know on some level you would realize that Mel was keeping something incredibly important from you, and that secret was tearing you apart.
There's nothing good about this, though. I will never go back to the way we were. We can never go back to what it was like when we were kids. Just the two of us playing together every day, having fun.
Everyone's childhood comes to an end. The flow of time is impartial. You cannot fight it. What you can do, what only you can do, is choose how you change.
But...
I will admit, I am the one who opened your wounds, and now I'm putting the responsibility of tending to them onto you. It's cruel, I know. But if you don't come to terms with Mel and make him withdraw his participation, even greater suffering awaits you far in the future. It's not over yet, and you cannot let this be where it ends. The bonds you formed over the years are not yet broken, and you can do what I was never able to. You can still repair your relationship.
But I'm scared. Scared that my brother, that my Mel could do such terrible things. That he could say... he would kill you. He used to be such a good brother. He was always so kind, so friendly to everyone. But it was all a lie. It was all a big act to fool me.
No, it was not all an act. There was truth to it. He is a kind-hearted boy, an ordinary young man, whose kindness was twisted by circumstance. And it doesn't matter how good a person someone is. Everyone has the potential to do terrible things when backed into a corner.
You think you know everything?
I know that much. Nelly, if you want your brother if you want your brother back, you have to act now. If you want your brother act, you have to back now. Kickstart the new indie game Brother Act back now. Please, you must take action.
But I'm scared. What am I supposed to say to him? I don't know.
I'll be there with you. You don't have to face this alone. There's more to this story than we've heard. We don't know how he got himself involved in this, and I mean to get the rest of it out of him. And you need to be there to hear it.
If, when I hear what he has to say, I try to say something I shouldn't. If I try to say something that will ruin everything, you'll stop me? You're the one who told me to open my eyes to face him. You're the one who made this whole mess. What am I supposed to do if all this destroys everything I have? You said you'd be my brother, right? So be a good brother and help me here. Promise me. You'll make sure nothing goes bad. You'll do that, won't you? Michelle, just say yes. We won't let this go bad. Have faith in yourself. Faith that you put their relationship on track to recovering. Promise her. Give her the courage she wants from you.
You have nothing to fear. I'll be there for you. I'll help you both.
Okay. I'll do it. I'll go back.
Thank you, Giselle.
Oh, don't mention it. Now let's go see what he has to say for himself. Let's draw back the curtain.
Yes, let's.
Nellie. Mel. What did you come back for? To ridicule me? I'm not the brother you thought I was, huh? Not at all what you wanted me to be. It's all over. Everything Michelle said is true. There's a girl imprisoned in the tower. A completely innocent girl. The girl who saved your life, in fact. Go on. Tell me how cruel and terrible and evil I am. I'm no prince. Here's an idea. Why don't you make him your new prince?
You can do it, Nellie. Ask him.
You have your reasons, don't you? You have some reason for being a part of this, right?
A reason? Yeah, I have a reason, all right. I wanted to save your life. I needed her blood to cure you, so I had her locked up.
Tell me the truth. I don't remember much about when the Saintess came to visit, but I do remember a little. I remember her saying she would gladly give whatever she could to the sick and needy. Which means you had no need to lock her up.
It would seem the tale Morgana showed me was true. She really was a saint.
Yes, she was. Tell me the truth, Mel. Tell me everything.
There's nothing to tell.
There is, I know it. There's more to a story than just the facts. The things you thought, the things you felt, all are pieces that combine to make the whole story. Isn't that right, Michelle?
You're exactly right.
If you hadn't said anything, we could have gone on with our lives as normal. No, Mel, we couldn't have. I thought so too at first, but it's not true. Our normal lives ended long ago. Tell me the truth, Mel. No matter what it is, I can handle it.
No, Nellie, you can't. A girl like you who dreams of becoming a princess couldn't possibly bear to see how hideous her brother has become. God, there's so many real relationships like this, man, where people who do terrible, cruel, evil things, are just so loving and human and, the ideal person they believe they should be in front of a specific group of people, those close to them. Think how, Hitler loved his dog, for example. Stalin was a family man, loved his daughter. It's wild. Wild! That's why I love stories, though, because truth is stranger and more wild than fiction could ever be, so fiction simply channels that reality in all the ways we can possibly imagine.
How can I know if you don't say anything, though? That's how it's always been with us. You were nice to me, and that was all I needed. I never looked beyond the surface. I made you into my ideal brother, and I latched onto that image of you.
And this, I've experienced this too before, where someone who plays a role like Nellie does, someone who, from the outside looking in, people might assume like is two-dimensional or vapid or stupid, but then you break down all the walls and you're left with a surprisingly intelligent, intuitive person. Oh, it's a shame that people erect so many of those walls, though, in the first place.
You're a kind person, Mel. You really are. So kind you played along with my fantasy that you were a prince. But you don't have to act for me anymore. I want to know the real you. I'm all done being a princess. I'm just your little sister now, nothing more. Your one and only little sister, Mel.
You need to do this, Mel. You need to tell your story. Until you do, we have no way of understanding what you've been through, what you're going through.
No way. If I tell you, you'll lose any hope you had left in me.
As Nellie has, you need to release yourself from your... As Nellie has, you need to... Oh my god! As Nellie has, you need to release yourself from your own idealized fantasy, Mel. You have someone right here who will accept you for who you are. I know good and well just how hard it can... Oh my god! I know good and well just how hard it can be to have someone dear to you see a side of you that you didn't want to show them. I think you want to get it off your chest, though. And I think you want forgiveness. Fantasies are not everlasting. They all crumble eventually. Show us the real Mel. Tell us your story, without embellishments or omissions. Did someone else say that? Pretty sure someone else said that exact line. Or I will tell you my story without embellishments or omissions. I think it was probably either Giselle or Morgana, I forget. It was definitely a woman. If it was the case. Or am I just completely misconstruing everything and mixing things up?
Mel.
Okay. I'll tell you. Oh, well, not like I have any other options. Nellie, if at any point you can't bear to hear anymore, so be it. You're free to leave whenever you like.
I won't go anywhere. I can almost guarantee you.
I pray that ends up being true. Alright, here goes. The whole story, from start to finish, of how I ended up in this mess.